everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, Patty, for the warm welcome and kind introduction. Thank you so much to everyone who's here with us today. It really is wonderful to connect with so many of you all. And I'm grateful for that opportunity, especially after the last 2 years of not getting to connect with club leaders as much as I was able to in the past. Thank you also for being willing and able to serve as club president for your clubs next year. I'm sure you have heard this throughout your pet's experience, but it is truly a wonderful and very crucial role that you are playing, because at the end of the day, the magic of Rotary happens in our clubs. So you have the ability as club president to have such a positive impact on your club and also your community by really setting the tone for your club experience, which we'll talk about, surrounding yourself with good people to help you in your role, and of course, just walking the walk, right, of Rotary and being people of action. So we are going to dive in today, and we are going to talk about why our club experience is so important to membership retention, to membership attraction, how to ensure we are delivering a positive membership experience, and of course, we will talk about resources to get us there. As Patty mentioned, I want you to feel free to ask questions or make comments in the chat as we go, or you can raise a hand. And if it's something we need to table till the end, we will do that. Patty, thank you so much for keeping your eye out. And I do see we have a hand raised with Angela. Let's just check in with Angela really quick before we dive in.
I'm sorry, but I cannot sign in with my name or my district. I've looked at all the options and I'm just not seeing the 3 dots at the top.
No problem, Angela. We can see your name. We can also see your picture. So I think you're all good. And you can just feel free to let us know what your district number is if you'd like.
5580.
Okay, good to know. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's start here, really at the heart of things. So why is our club experience the most important thing? Does anyone want to throw out an idea or two or a response of why our club experience is so important? You can either put it into the chat or you could unmute. Why is that club experience so important?
Keeping people engaged.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, we've given up our time for that hour or hour and a half, and got to do something with it that keeps people motivated, excited, and coming back.
Exactly.
If we aren't at our A game, then we can't expect people to pay attention and to want to be there.
Absolutely. Delivering that club experience.
Right.
And Teresa shared that it encourages membership. It's a reflection of everything we do. Exactly. It creates a sense of belonging. It's like, have you all seen this presentation before? It's the only way to grow. Without it, we shrink. Absolutely. So in an essence, everything you shared, and then it's how people see, feel, experience, utilize, and interact with Rotary in general. It gives people an opportunity to serve their community collectively, Ronald shared. I love it. So exactly, it's a reflection of who we are as an organization. It all comes back to that club experience. And our incoming president of Rotary International, Jennifer Jones, she really emphasizes this, that the key to the longevity of our organization and the key to membership in general is the care and the comfort of our members and our prospective members, which really goes hand in hand with creating that sense of belonging. So if our club experience is, say, our product, then what do our members and prospective members want? And Rotary International has done research to find out what those things are. Research tells us that Rotarians and Rotaractors have slightly different priorities in their reasons for joining and staying in Rotary, but generally they're looking at these three main things. They are looking for local service opportunities to give back to their communities. They are looking for opportunities to make genuine connections with others, and they're looking for opportunities to develop and grow professionally, personally, and with leadership as well. And through these surveys, we have definitely seen that there's a direct connection between member satisfaction and member retention. So those members staying in the club. So what can we offer our members then in our clubs? And really, I want you all to imagine and dream, because really the sky is the limit in terms of what we can offer our members. I think that is really the beautiful thing about Rotary, is that we are such a multifaceted organization. Yes, we're a service organization, but we are also a networking organization. We are an organization where people grow in leadership, in their professional lives. We are also an organization rooted in friendship, in fellowship, in connections. We have opportunities for mentoring, for networking, and of course, steeped in all the things that we do, we hope things are fun, right? And again, going back to President-elect Jennifer Jones, at her speech at the International Assembly in January, she said something that has really stuck with me, and I keep sharing it with clubs. She said, for Rotary, finding the right part to engage each member should be our core function. It is our offer of hands-on service, personal growth, leadership development, and lifelong friendships that creates purpose and passion. So in an essence, for me, what that comes down to is that the club experience we're offering, the opportunities that are available to our members, that is what creates that sense of belonging. And it's not only about making people feel included and heard and utilized and valued, that is crucial, but again, creating that sense of home for people, of belonging. So as you're absorbing everything, as you prepare for your year as president, I want to challenge you all to think about, what is the role or roles that your club plays in your community and for your members? For a lot of clubs, you know, that club is some of their members' third space. You know, for some people that might be the library or maybe church. For a lot of people, that is Rotary. Maybe it's their outlet. Maybe it is their connection to others. Maybe it's family to them. Or maybe it's a break from from home. Maybe it's just a chance to get out and to interact with other people. So it may be a lot of different things for different members, and it is really important to know the role it plays for your members, because homes have a lot of different rooms, right? And each room has different purposes. So if you're aware of the roles your club plays for your members and your prospective members, you will be able to better support them, serve them, and also meet the needs of prospective members in your community. And really, we'll talk about this later, but prospective members could really be anyone in your community. So our research and outreach to former members has also revealed that that feeling of being welcomed by and being comfortable with other club members is actually the single most important variable when it comes to both member satisfaction and membership retention. And we found that as comfort and belonging increased, the probability of having a higher satisfaction with membership increased as well. Of course, a member who is not at all comfortable with other members is actually 2 to 4 times more likely to terminate their membership than a member who is really comfortable. And people are comfortable in different ways, right? So it's about those people feeling valued for who they are. And this applies not just to our current members, okay, but this applies to anyone and everyone who engages with Rotary, no matter who they are or where they are in the world, really, too, because even if you have hybrid meetings, you might have folks joining you from all over the world. All of our members, our prospective members, our participants, our folks who are family of Rotary, they deserve and expect to feel valued, respected, and welcomed. And this sometimes takes clubs taking a really honest look at themselves and a look outside of themselves to imagine what it would feel like coming into your club from a completely different background or a completely different socioeconomic status or race as compared to the current makeup of your club. So when we have asked those former members why they left, many of them do cite unmet expectations. It is important to remember this, especially I think when many clubs are still working hard to keep members engaged, get members re-engaged in the midst of the pandemic over the last couple of years. But we do know that 30% of current members say they aren't satisfied with their club experience. So that club environment and culture is completely crucial to the club experience. Rotaractors, for them, financial commitments and time commitments also show to play a big role in whether they are likely to remain in or leave their club. And I think, you know, to some extent, these things seem like common sense, right? Imagine being excited to be a member of your club and then you show up and it's not really what you were promised, or it's not really what you've heard or seen about Rotary. And I think we also have to be really honest with our prospective members about what the club experience is and what the costs and time expectations are. You know, I think for a lot of us, virtual meetings have opened up new possibilities for meetings, but we've also heard from a lot of members that the virtual meetings have also interfered with their ability to connect with others as they used to, and that they don't want to, you know, pay the full cost of membership for virtual meetings. So it takes really talking with your members and prospective members to find out what they want. And really, clubs have more freedom than ever before to structure yourselves in a way that works for you and for your members. Accommodating the needs of our members and the community really does require some flexibility. It requires some change management. And really, there is a Rotary Club out there for everyone. If there isn't one, we can create one. And I would like you to think about that when maybe you're in communities that have multiple clubs. If your club doesn't seem to be a good fit for a member, keep in mind the other clubs that are around you, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. So we want to be thinking about, if someone's not a great fit for our club, how can we connect them to Rotary in another way so that they still have a good experience? So once we understand that our club experience is of utmost importance for membership retention and attraction, then how do we go about ensuring this? How do we go about enacting some of these changes? And I've broken it down into 3 steps. So first, I think it starts with assessment. Surveying our club members is really important, especially after the last couple of years. I think that even if people were surveying their members regularly before the pandemic, sometimes that fell off over the last couple of years. We do have a customizable membership satisfaction survey available on our website, and I will go through all these resources at the end too. The club health check. This is something that's been around for years. It was recently updated though. This resource is really tailored to a club's board. And it goes through things like the operations of your club, your service projects, your socials, things like that, and kind of gets the pulse of your club. Also, reviewing your club's membership trends. We have a wealth of reports that are available to you in My Rotary. Hopefully you all have your member or your My Rotary accounts. I know lots of clubs, of course, use a third-party database like Club Runner or DACDB, and that's great. They are incredibly helpful tools, but be sure to check in on My Rotary from time to time as well, because there are a lot of great resources on there, and it's a way to connect with Rotarians globally too. So once you've taken a look at those membership trends, also taking a look at current demographics of your club, but also taking a look at census data in your community, and then identifying who is missing from the table. And once you do that, I think doing a SWOT analysis, going through your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and then being sure to confront any aspects of your club that might not be working for some people or might not be welcoming for some people. Because you want to make sure that as you're identifying those people that are missing, that that culture of your club that they're coming into is one where everyone feels inclusive, right? That home feels conducive to everyone's needs. And then be sure that you're getting feedback also, if you can, from non-members, guests, friends, community members, speakers, former members. I've had a couple of clubs who have done some focus groups in their community or different neighborhoods of their community to figure out how their club could serve them and what it would take for folks in those areas to join their club. And they learned a lot through those. So after that assessment, then it's time to create a plan. So creating a membership plan is really important. And we do have a resource for this that I'll highlight at the end as well. I can't tell you how many clubs I've worked with who are so grateful when they actually sit down with a team of people and they write out a plan. Maybe they're using our Strengthening Your Membership resource. Maybe they're using our strategic planning guide, which I'll direct you to at the end. But really sitting down and putting something on paper really helps with succession planning too. So again, building a team, making sure that you are not set up to do it all as club president, because you will find that it's too much. So if you don't yet have a membership chair identified in your club, please do so, and then report them to Rotary International so they're getting all of our important communications as well about resources and support and all those kinds of things. Creating a vision for your club, if you can, over the next 5 years, I think really helps. Again, that goes along with that SWOT analysis of taking a look at where you are and where you want to go. Setting goals. I know setting goals is not always the most fun thing to do, but I always remind myself that when I write a goal down, those are the ones that I actually end up achieving. Because we need something to hold ourselves accountable, right? And we have a goal setting tool within My Rotary called Rotary Club Central. You can put all of your club's membership goals into there and you can track them as well. That's a tool for you as club leaders to use. And then it not only is a place that documents your success over the years, but again, it's that place where you can hold yourselves accountable throughout the year. I just want to check in, Patty, and see if there are any pressing questions or comments that have come up.
There have been a couple of questions. Shelley Crawford asked whether or not when we were talking about why members join a certain club or how they feel welcome, whether members want to see themselves as opposed to meeting and engaging with new people who may be different. So when we go about looking for new members, are we bringing in people, who are different or who are like us?
I think that's a really interesting question. How much do members want to see themselves as opposed to meeting and engaging with new people who may be different? Shelley, I think that's a good question. I think sometimes as humans, I think in theory, we say we want to engage with new people who are different, but oftentimes seeing ourselves and connecting with people who are just like us feels easier. It feels maybe more comfortable. It's what we know, right? But there is such a need for diverse perspectives, diverse skills, interests, ideas, opinions. And our research has also told us that clubs who have that diversity in all of the different aspects of diversity, they are better equipped to serve their whole community. So that's why it's also important to be looking at what your current demographics are and what the demographics of your community are, so that you can make sure that your club is reflecting that community.
Yeah. Catherine Berry also asked if anyone who has done a survey to help engage members, if they'd be willing to share it. So if anyone has, or if you're aware of one, you could put your information in the chat and we could all share it. And then Jessica Klin de Novello asked whether or not the clubs that you mentioned that did focus groups, whether there were common themes.
So one common theme that I know came up is that one club who did some focus groups in a few different neighborhoods to say, hey, how can Rotary serve your area and how would you like to be involved with us? One thing that came up is that they really wanted to be part of the planning process, the execution process of the service projects. They didn't want the club coming in to, do it for them. They really wanted to be a part of it. That's a big theme that came out of it. And I also know of a club that created a Rotary community core with a neighborhood in their community that had been just underserved by Rotary historically. And that Rotary community core bridged the gap because it was in a neighborhood where they already were doing a lot of service. There were some really active organizations. So the Rotary community core bridged the gap, and then several people from that community then joined the club. This is in Plano, Texas, this example. But yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
And I see another question about surveys. I will be sure to put a link in the chat at the end when I'm highlighting it to our membership resources page. And there is a customizable club survey linked there. It's called actually Enhancing Your Club Experience. Great.
Bob had a question on tangible examples, but I think you shared some of those. So
great. Okay, I'm just going to check time to make sure we are on track and we will move forward. Thanks, Patty. Okay, so once assessment has happened, the plan has happened, delivering, right? Delivering on that club experience. A few things to think about. Once you have gone through the previous 2 steps, likely what might come out of the assessment and planning is that maybe there are some opportunities to switch things up, to be more flexible. And clubs can be more flexible than ever before. And I'll actually touch on some ways you can be flexible in a couple of minutes. Delivering, again, making sure you're offering opportunities. And I know for a lot of members, a weekly meeting is what they love about their Rotary Club, and that is awesome. But if you have current and prospective members who are telling you, I really want to get my hands dirty with your club, you want to make sure that you're offering those opportunities if possible. And we're finding that clubs who are offering a couple service opportunities every month, even if it's ongoing, at the same place each month, those are clubs we are seeing that are growing and thriving. Checking in with members periodically. Assessment is ongoing. It doesn't just happen 1 year or 1 quarter. It's something that should keep happening year in and year out. so that you can keep adapting to the needs of your members. And then being sure to engage your community. So through assessment and through planning, you should have hopefully then identified those folks who are missing from your club and come up with a plan to reach out to them and to engage them. And again, maybe that looks like creating a Rotary Community Corps or something like that to bridge the gap. Maybe it's as simple as reaching out to people and setting up coffee dates with them. Okay, and that's a way to engage your current members, to delegate some of that outreach and responsibility to them as well. So I just want to challenge all of you to look around your communities, see all the different ways that people are connecting, whether that's through, you know, shared professions or shared cultures or interests, and invite these people to connect with us too. We are all wanting, I think, a stronger Rotary, a more effective Rotary. You wouldn't have signed up for the membership session if you weren't feeling that way. And a Rotary that is inclusive and open to new members, to new ideas. There are so many ways to create new channels into Rotary, all kinds of leaders in your communities, and we want them connected to Rotary. So let's open up our thinking about who a leader can be also. It doesn't have to be the always the historic definition of community leader. So a few ways to just think about doing this. You could be starting dialogues with other organizations or clubs, talking about how you could mutually benefit from one another's activities. Maybe your club would benefit from adopting a cause to attract and engage members who are passionate about a specific issue. Maybe you are going to focus on including Rotaractors in your activities. If you have Rotaract clubs in your area, maybe you're going to offer a new membership type. And I'll touch on this a bit in a minute. And let's just really try to find every opportunity out there to show that we value our current members and prospective members out there. I think we're at a moment where we can really seize a lot of opportunities and embrace really like the new landscape of our society and culture after the last couple of years. So I want to share some club examples with all of you, because I feel like sharing Rotary clubs who are already walking the walk gives you really tangible ideas that you can take back to your clubs. You know, and these are from clubs all over the country. So, you know, they might not be in our upper Midwest area, but that's the beauty of Rotary, is that what's working for a club in Tennessee might work for a club in Ontario, Canada. So the Rotary Club of Clear Creek 2000, this is in Colorado, they nearly doubled their membership in about 18 months. They made some pretty simple but effective changes to how they engage with people in their community. So their small club of 12, where they started, grew to 23. And then they also grew their female membership from 0 to 7 female members. So they did that by hosting a couple of socials or mixers annually at their local breweries. They invited their current members, and then they also reached out to community leaders, mayor, county commissioners, newly retired people. At the mixers, they, you know, had drinks and hors d'oeuvres. They also made a point to briefly speak about their club, what they do, and they invited their members to chime in and tell their personal stories. And they also emphasized the focus of their efforts, which was always to support the children of Clear Creek County. So they really adopted a focus, and then they created their service projects and their club activities around that focus, whether that was, you know, attending RILA or building a greenhouse for their local high school. So these socials gave them some good visibility, and then they also tried out some new fundraisers, both to engage current members and to reach out to the community as well. They hosted a big lobster fest where, you know, they had a theme, and the funds raised from that event again went to scholarships for schools. And they think of their club culture like a giant round table. So they're always welcoming their members. They're always encouraging new ideas. Friendship and camaraderie is huge in this club. So next, this is the Rotary Club of Collierville in Tennessee. And they actually grew their club during the pandemic. Despite all of the challenges of the pandemic, they were really able to engage in service still and get really creative to attract people. So last June, they set and this would have been, I think, June of 2020, so 2 Junes ago, they set a goal to grow by 20%. And they, by the end of the year, had welcomed 13 new members. And they picked 20% because back in the early 2000s, their club had 100 members, but then their membership declined over the years. So they thought if we grow by 20% each year, we can get back to that 100 members within about 3 years or so. And they knew that would be really a challenge, but they sort of, you know, like a sport, they kind of made it fun and made it like a real target for all the club members to work towards. A few ways they did this: they started providing corporate memberships, which made them able to attract some members from local organizations that they hadn't been able to engage before. They also set that goal of attracting more women and younger professionals. And then they put their female members and their younger professional members in charge of projects of their choice that increased their visibility in the community and really made them then the ambassadors to attract other prospective members as well. And they noted that when people saw they had more women and younger professionals in their club, those demographics were more attracted to the club as well, because again, they looked at the club and said, okay, I think that this club is a place where I could feel like I belong. Another thing they did that I've had several clubs do that has really helped is creating an online application. So that made it really easy for prospective members to go to their website and fill out their information. The club membership chair could quickly then connect with people. So your clubs from time to time likely get assigned membership leads from your district that come from Rotary International. But if your club has your online application as well, that's a way for prospective members to just show their interest to you without having to even necessarily first come to a meeting. Of course, you'll want to invite them to a project or socials to make sure it's a good fit, but it's a way for people to express interest directly to you. And then for this club as well, their service projects really built awareness. They also had a great social media campaign where they were really telling their stories through social media so that non-Rotarians could see what they were doing. I always say people don't know what they don't see. And people see a lot as they're scrolling on their phones. And for the Rotary clubs that I follow that are consistently posting what they're up to, even if it's a real simple flyer or post, it hooks me in. And I think, oh, that sounds like fun. I wish I was in that town right now and could go join them. And that could be a project that you're doing. It could be your meeting. So keep that in mind. And just a quick note, they also have hybrid meetings, which I know can be tough to perfect, but it's working for them. Okay. So this is the Rotary Club of Sedona Village. And they attracted 15 new members through a new service project that they decided to do, where they were building a community garden. So the idea actually came by listening to their community's biggest needs. They did a community assessment, sort of like what I talked about earlier. And they did that at the start of the pandemic. And they found out that the biggest needs were scarcity of food, the desire to connect outdoors. And so this idea was really met with enthusiasm from the club members, from members of the community, local businesses, and it quickly grew into this passionate project where everyone was really involved. And their club president actually shared at the time, we know that this is working because the community is showing up. They're participating and they're engaging and they're watching and they're digging in their hands into the soil with us. And they, again, have been really inclusive to their local organizations and businesses and created those connections. And then one more example that I wanted to share is the Rotary Club of Redmond. And they actually reached their membership goal of 45 members. They grew by about 41% since 1 July of 2018. And they really transformed their membership into a very engaged group of people. And their successes came from good leadership. They also held what they felt were effective trainings. And they said that they continued to focus on club assessment, right? So coming back to that important topic of assessing. I like how they also note they have intentional hospitality, right? The care and the comfort of our members. They're very personal with each other. They always are telling stories, having personal introductions, and they're sure to assign mentors to their new members. And I want to encourage you all, if you do implement mentoring into your clubs, whether it's formal or informal, keep in mind that mentoring relationships really go both ways. And it doesn't have to always be a longer tenured member is matched with a newer member. It could sometimes be a newer member mentoring a longer standing member too. It's just about the understanding of what the mentoring relationship is. Their club was also very family friendly, and that's something I've been hearing a lot lately. People want to be able to bring their kids if they can, or maybe, you know, parents who are living with them. Having that flexibility for families to be involved is something I'm hearing a lot about that's really important these days. And maybe your clubs are already doing that, which is great. Wanted to touch quickly on club flexibility because I did mention it. So there are a lot of ways that clubs can utilize flexibility. I hope that you are aware of these. I think it was the 2016 Council on Legislation that really created a lot of flexibility for clubs. But clubs can switch up their meeting formats, the frequency of their meetings. Does anyone know how many times per month Rotary International requires clubs to meet or gather? And I say gather because it doesn't have to be a traditional meeting. It could be a service project, a social, a tour of a business. Anyone know how many times per month the required frequency
Isn't it at
is?
least once in person?
It's 2 opportunities per month, and
Okay.
there isn't a requirement for in person actually. Yeah, so 2 opportunities per month. And again, that could be a variety of different things. And we're even seeing some clubs out there who aren't even having traditional meetings. They only meet to do service projects. So, and membership types. I know I mentioned that. If your club, you know, wants to offer a membership type locally, like a family membership or corporate membership, we do have some guides on rotary.org/membership that can help you to think about how to structure those. They still get reported to Rotary International as active or honorary, but it's tracked locally. So a lot of times sharing ideas amongst clubs for how to structure that is the best way to go, or maybe your district has some ideas for how to structure those within your club. Club models, I think I've mentioned, we've had a lot that have emerged over the years. Cause-based clubs, passport clubs, satellite clubs are very common. Again, we do have some guides for these, and we're just finding sometimes if a club is really struggling, adopting a cause or a specific focus can sometimes be the revamp that club needs. I've had a few clubs in some districts in Texas that I work with that have found success with that. And I just had a question I see from Tammy. Why can't International open up more categories of membership to change with the clubs? Yeah, it's a good question. I think because there are so many different membership types that clubs globally offer, that it's been determined at the Council on Legislation that it's easier if clubs can manage that locally with whatever they want to offer membership types wise, and they just report to us active or honorary, dues paying or not dues paying. But I think possibly in the future there could be more. And then attendance, you can strengthen, or you can tighten or relax attendance however you see fit within your club. So that's another good thing to easier foo-hoo, Tammy. Yeah, I hear that. And I will certainly pass that feedback along. All right. Okay, so next up, I hope you'll all humor me a little bit, but since we've all probably been on Zoom a lot, and since we're all in the upper Midwest, right? I thought it might be fun to play a little game, and it's actually inspired by the bar in my basement. Yes, my house here in Madison, Wisconsin, we have a nice little like bar from the 1950s in our house. And I'm actually in Florida. Some folks, yes, are definitely, it sounds like joining us from Florida, which is wonderful. But for those of us in these districts in the upper Midwest, I'm wondering if people are familiar with the game at local bars called Shake of the Day. I'm not sure if that is a typically Wisconsin thing. I grew up in Wisconsin, but you don't really need to know how to play Shake of the Day. Aaron Wood said yes. You don't really need to know how to play Shake of the Day to play this game. But since I can't, if we were in a room together, right, I would have someone offer to shake the dice. But I have my trusty leather dice cup here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to shake the dice, and whatever number we land on, and I'll be sure to show you so you're keeping me honest, we're going to go to a scenario, a club experience scenario. I'll read it out, and then I would love for people to raise their hand, and Patty will help call on you, and then we will get people to respond to how they would go about solving the club scenario. So it's all about thinking about how we can kind of shake things up in our club, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the dice here. 4. Okay, so I'm going to click to 4. And I know this isn't exactly like how Shake of the Day works, right? We're not farming dice here, but it's inspired by Shake of the Day. So 4, the question here, or the scenario I should say here, is when the same few members always do everything. I hear about this a lot in my experience as a regional membership officer. So does anyone want to raise your hand? And based on what we talked about today, thinking about club experience, thinking about assessment, does anyone want to share how you feel you could go about tackling this scenario?
Not seeing, oh, Melissa Bauermaster, if you would unmute yourself.
Well, so taking your hint, I think maybe if we did an assessment, maybe did surveys of our club, maybe part of the problem is that all of the service projects tend to be chosen or planned by those same few people. So maybe we need to be more inclusive to our club and do a survey to ask what other areas they might be interested in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great idea.
I think Dan Brown was next.
Just simply engage people. If Betty or Tom have never been involved in a project previously, ask them to maybe take the lead or ask them for some suggestions on how we can proceed with this new project. That would be my thoughts.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
Jenny Saylor.
We have just in the last year, all of our board members have so the board position is there, but then we have invited people in their passion area to join that team. So that board member, if they're working on, club service in the community or whatever, they have a team of people that are helping them do that. And what has happened is leaders have emerged from those work groups.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenny.
And Bob Timmons also has his hand raised.
Thanks. We've had a lot of discussions around this perception, sort of this thread and this current in our club, as vibrant and busy as we are. And we've talked a lot recently about this is a societal thing too, but we're so inundated with the flow of information, the emails, the texts, and this speaks to Rotary and the sort of community sense of it, is that it's important to tap people, the personal connection, tap on the shoulder, a phone call. Not everybody's reading those emails that get sent out on Club Runner. And I think that's one way back into really, this all is in the context of what you're talking about, Emily, with connections. That's going to be the key, I think, for our club to get more involvement. And then with that tapping of the shoulder, there's more listening and there's more continuity and, all of those things. So.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad it's working in your club.
Yeah. And I think, Brad Johnson, you had your hand raised, but it's down now. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sometimes it's the same people that do everything because it's easy to ask them because they'll say yes.
Yes.
And so then you just have to do the hard thing and ask people that might say no, but at least reach out to them.
I like that. Thanks. And sometimes we're surprised, right? Mm-hmm.
And Mike Becker has his hand raised.
Emily, isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
It sure is.
We have one more hand, Ann Fitch.
Yeah, as president-elect of our club, I've been meeting with everyone one-on-one to find out if they're a doer or a giver, because some people just want to give and they don't want to do. And when they tell me they're a doer, I let them know that this check mark in this box is accountability. Because when it's time to do, I'm going to call and you're going to do what you said you were going to do.
Oh, I love that. Are you a doer or a giver? I love that. And really just having honest conversations with people about how they want to be engaged. It's going to be different person by person.
And I told people if they're a giver, that's great. Can you put a dollar amount to that give too? I'm a pretty direct person and people have seemed to respond to it. So hopefully we can get some good service projects.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
So Emily, we have a couple more raised hands. I don't know if you need to move on to the next one or.
Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty hot topic that has come up for different pets. So, and I see my good friend Lowell Stuhlman there. So why don't we take the next two and then we'll jump to another question. Thanks.
Okay. Barbara, raise your hand, Barbara Perella, and then Lowell, you'll be next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm planning a fireside chat, which we haven't done in a number of years. And I called on a new member that seems to be coming to lunch, but not really engaged any other way to see if he was a member of the club where we used to hold it. And the only reason he opened up my email to him was because it was directly to him from me. It wasn't sent through Club Runner to the mass group. And so we are in the midst of sending out some invitations to those new members. And next week is our phone calling. And we're going to send out emails one-on-one to see if we can get more of a response from our members to come to our fireside chat. So I just wanted to share that because something new we're going to try, but it just struck me that somebody would open that up only because it was coming from me and not Club Runner.
Absolutely, Barbara. I think that really speaks to the power of just personal connection, especially right now. Thank you.
And Lowell.
I had we interviewed a district governor candidate last night, and we asked what his plans would be and how he was going to operate in the district. And he said he felt like he would lead from the back of the room. And that stuck with me because I think that's something that we as the doers in the club, we forget, and we just charge ahead with things, and we don't give other members a chance to put their 2 cents worth in, even give them a chance to volunteer. So
making space for others, and centering your members, I think is really important. Kind of taking that step back. I like that, Will. Thanks for sharing. All right, I'm gonna roll the dice again. Here we go. Blow on it for good luck. Oh my gosh, we got 4 again. Here I go again. I'm not kidding you. I just got 4 again.
Wait, we're not done with our bets.
All right, number 3. So I'll go back to our main menu here and click on number 3. Okay, and we have 6 minutes left. So when you realize your club members are unwilling to try something new, so when you know there is a resistance to change, how do we tackle that?
Okay, Shelley Crawford.
I have a feeling that you need to get people that they trust to engage and then help engage them. It might not be right coming from a particular individual, but if there is some camaraderie going on in that club and they believe in someone's point of view, they may be more willing to listen.
I like that, Shelley. Trust is so huge, and it makes me also think about once you have done those assessments with your club members, you have data, you have survey data there that also can help empower and inform, I should say, those conversations, which I think helps with trust.
Andy Tildes.
Sure, I think those who don't want to try something new might be set in old ways, but they also might be not fully understanding what we're looking to do differently. So I think we have to dive deeper with them and ask the question, what about this really doesn't work for you? And how could we change it to make it doable for you? Because then there's some buy-in from them to try something new and to harness new energy. But I think we've got to find out why, and then what's the change agent to get them to look to a different way.
Absolutely. The why is so huge. Thanks.
Logan G, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm hoping this will be an answer for me, but what I'm trying is like researching more reasons behind what we want to try. So I thought that hybrid meetings would be a good idea for our club to be able to reach more people and have more people the opportunity for membership. But there's been resistance to that. I reached out to our Alexa executive director of the district. And she had some advice for us, which was that not only can we enhance new membership, but we could also reach our current members who are snowbirds. They can continue to interact throughout the year. And it also allows us to reach new presenters who are maybe more distant. So there was two new kind of reasonings that I can bring to the club, having that new research. So
Love it. Okay, thank you for sharing.
Shelley Crawford. Unmute, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to share 4 words that have stuck with me for decades and decades when I did a high-end sales workshop. And it's if I, would you. So it's finding what the barriers are and trying to put forward a position that will change someone's mind. And it may be something small, maybe something significant, but those 4 words have stuck with me, and I unconsciously use them all the time to convince people. I don't take no very easily.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. I think that's a really good takeaway for everyone. With 2 minutes left, even though I want to do some more shaking, I think actually these 2 questions were 2 of the most pertinent of the 6. And I will follow up with the presentation with the North Central Pets organizers so that you can get a copy of all of these slides. But I do want to highlight some resources as promised. So we'll quickly go through here. And I think, honestly, when I really looked back at the 6 different scenarios, so much of it comes back to those 3 pieces: assessing, planning, and delivering, and then checking in with members. So whether that's, you know, longer tenured members and newer members not mixing well, or people finding the meetings boring, it's going to come back to that assessment and then creating plans and then executing. So I mentioned strengthening your membership. This is a resource for creating your membership development plan. We've got the member satisfaction survey, also our strategic planning guide. Your one-stop shop for RI membership resources is rotary.org/membership. We have our learning center that's got a lot of interactive courses, rotary.org/learn. So you'll want to log into your My Rotary account to go there. And then rotary.org/DEI, I also wanted to highlight because there are some great webinar recordings there and resources specific to our DEI code of conduct and accountability model and things like that. And then I wanted to leave us at this very last 30 seconds of wanted to leave you with my contact information. Please feel free to reach out anytime. Email, my phone number is here. And I just wanted to thank you. You've all been really very great participators in this session. I've done a lot of Zoom sessions the past couple months, and this has been the best group. So thanks a lot. And thank you for all the ideas that you've shared. I think those are the best takeaways for you all as club leaders is what your fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors are sharing.